Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to Science class, Science Genius Science Academy. Once again, today we are going to discuss the chapter related for the 8th class, that is the combustion and flame. Right? Flame is a very familiar to us. Flame is plays a very important role in the life of a human beings. Why? Because the flame help us to cook the food, flame give us light, flame give us heat, right? Today we are going to discuss about the combustion and the flame unit. Let us start this lesson. Okay, first of all we are going to see the combustion. Okay, what is the combustion? Let us see. Look here, combustion. This is combustion. Let me change the color first here. Okay, a chemical process in which substances react with the oxygen of air to give heat and light is called combustion. This is the definition of a combustion. It means a chemical process in which a substances give react with oxygen present in the air to give the heat and light is called the combustion. Look, whenever we burn the wood to cook the food, the wood burns with the fire, the help of oxygen present in the atmosphere. It means the burning of wood is a chemical reaction. It means the burning of wood is a chemical reaction which involves the oxygens present in the air and they give out the light. Whenever we burn, we see the light and heat. This is the definition of a combustion, the chemical process in which the substances react with the oxygen of the air to give out the heat and the light is called the combustion. Here, the condition for the combustion is, first one is the oxygen. Oxygen is necessary for the combustions to take place. It means if there is a oxygen, there is a combustion. If there is no oxygen, there is no combustion. Remember that. Respiration is a kind of a slow combustion of the food that take place in the body to produce energy. It means this is related to our biological process take place in the body. We breathe. Okay, we breathe the oxygen. We inhale the oxygen. The oxygen which we inhale or we breathe, it helps to digest our food. Where the body get energy in the form of heat here. Remember, when we breathe the oxygen, it enters in our lungs and the blood absorb all the oxygen from the lungs and provide every part of our body to digest our food. While the digesting of food, the energy is liberated. That is also known as the slow combustion of the biological process take place in the living organism. And next, rusting of iron is an example of a slow combustion. You may observe that whenever we throw the rod in the atmosphere or in the ground, after a few days we see the yellowish color powder coating will come on the rod. We see the yellowish color coating on the rod. That is nothing but that is the rust. That is the rust. That rust is also known as the slow combustion take place in the atmosphere. For all these activity, for the respiration, for the resting, oxygen is a main component to process these all reactions. One is the oxygen is necessary for the combustion. Oxygen is necessary for the respiration and the food digestion, and oxygen is responsible for the resting of iron. Okay. Next point. Here we can see the reaction. Right? Here we can see the reaction. Here, this is the magnesium. When we burn in the presence of oxygen, it gives the magnesium oxide. This is the reaction. This is the chemical reaction. Whenever we burn the magnesium in the presence of oxygen, it gives the magnesium oxides. Next, the types of a combustion, right? Combustible, combustible, first one. Second one is the non-combustible substances. This is the combustible substances. These are the combustible substances and the non-combustible substances. There are the two type of a combustion we are going to see here. Let us discuss here one by one. First of all, we are going to discuss about the combustible. Combustible substances. Combustible substances means those substances which can burn are called combustible substances. It means the substances which catches the fire. For example, wood you can take, right? You can take the charcoal. You can take the clothes, right? These are the combustible substances. Why? Because wood catches the fire. Whenever we have to heat the water for the bath, whenever we use the charcoal for the many purpose in the many industries, and we see the clothes catches the fire, it means the substances which catches the fire, they are called the combustible substances. There are the lot of the substances we use in day-to-day life. And make a list which catches the fire. This is the work for you people. Okay. Next example we take here: the paper, petrol, kerosene, wood, coal, cow dung cakes, diesel, charcoal. These are the substances. These are the example for the combustible substances. Why? Because whenever we see, we heat the paper, we burn the paper, it catches the fire. We use the petrol as a fuel to make the combustion. We use the kerosene to burn the wood for cooking the food for many purposes. And the wood itself catches the fire. And the coal is also catches the fire. Cow dung, this is a very familiar to us. Why? Because we use these substances. Cow dung we use for the many purposes, for the cooking the food, for burning the, to warm the heat for the bath, for the many purpose we are used. And the diesel is itself a combustible substances, and the charcoal is also catches the fire. It means the substances which catches the fire, they are known as the combustible substances. These you can see, this is the first one is the charcoal we see. These are the charcoals. Okay. These are the charcoals. And these are the coals. Example, these are the picture of charcoal and a coal. This is the charcoal. Charcoal and this is the coal. Okay. These are the example for the combustible substances. Next, we see the non-combustible substances. It means then the substances or the object, those which does not burn are called the non-combustible substances. They can't catch the fire, they don't catch the fire, or we can't burn them. These are the substances known as the non-combustible substances. For example, stone, we can't burn it. Glass, we can melt it for the high temperature. Cement, bricks, soil, sand, water, iron nails, coppers, these all are the substances which not catches the fire. These are the substances not catches the fire. These are known as the non-combustible substances. Remember that the substances which does not burn are called non-combustible substances. Okay, there are the lot of example we can take from our day-to-day uses. You can see here the example for the non-combustible substances. Right? You can take, this is also an example, and this is also, this is the powder of a chalk. We can take that chalk. Right? These are the non-combustible substances. These are the picture of that non-combustible substances. Next, the condition necessary for the combustion. What is the conditions required for combustions? First condition, the presence of the combustible substances, substances which can burn. The first condition is the substances must be present, those which catches the fire. For example, wood catches the fire, clothes catches the fire, right? Coal catches the fire, petrol catches the fire. It means the substances which catches the fire are the condition for the combustion. And second condition, the presence of a support of oxygen. If you want to burn this wood, there must be oxygen. In the presence of oxygen, we can burn the wood. In the presence of oxygen, we can burn the cloth. In the presence of in the presence of oxygen, we can burn the coal. In the presence of oxygen, we can burn the petrol. Look at, when you see the bikes, you use the bikes, you drive the bikes, right? We use the petrol as a fuel here. Petrol directly not catches the fire. There is a nozzle present which supply the oxygen in the engine. After that, the spark will help us to burn the petrol. It means if you want to burn any substances, oxygen is a very important for the combustion. Without oxygen, we can't burn any substances. Third condition, right? The third condition we see here. The third condition, the heating of a combustible substances to its ignition temperature. This is a very important condition for the combustion. Directly we can't burn the substances until they reach the ignition temperature. Every substance having its own ignition temperature. The substances, until we can't burn them, they reach to the ignition temperature. If we, for example, if we have the wood, the ignition temperature of the wood is a 50 degrees Celsius. Just this is an example for you. Until the heat reaches to 50 degrees Celsius, the wood can't burn, or we can't burn the wood. When the temperature increased above 50 degrees Celsius, then it start to get the combustion. It start to burn. This is a very important condition, heating of the combustible substances to its ignition temperature. It means that the ignition temperature or the temperature must be raised to the ignition temperature for the ignition, what we call that stage or the combustible stage. Okay. Next point. Types of combustion. Again we see here. Type of a combustion. There are the three types of a combustion. One is the rapid combustion. Second one is the spontaneous combustion. Third one is the explosive combustions. These are the three types of combustions we see here. Rapid, spontaneous and explosive. Let us discuss one by one. First one is the rapid combustion. Rapid combustion. Rapid. The combustion reaction in which the large amount of heat and light are produced in a short time is called rapid combustion. It means that in suddenly or large amount of heat must be released and a large amount of light must be released. Then it is known as rapid combustion. Whenever the substance catches the fire, it must release the large amount of heat and it must liberate or emit the large amount of the heat and light. That is known as the rapid combustions. For example, matchstick, or you can take the matchbox. When we rub these sticks, these are the sticks here. When we rub these sticks to the strip of the matchbox, then they catch us suddenly fire. You are very familiar for these activity. Why? Because we use the matchbox in day-to-day life to lighting the gas, to burn the paper, to burn the old product or the clothes. We rub to each other the strip and the stick. If you rub suddenly, they catches the fire and they liberate the amount of a light in the dark room. If you catches the fire, you rub the matchstick to on. If you on the matchstick, they will catches the fire. The heat and light will be emitted. This is the example for the rapid combustion. Next one is the spontaneous combustion. Spontaneous combustion means the combustion's reaction which occurs on its own without the help of any external heat is called spontaneous combustion. Means that there is no interference of a human being. You can take an example. Without interference of a human being, if the substances burns directly, then it is known as the spontaneous reaction. Why? Because we are the people where we burn the lot of the materials by our interference in the atmosphere. Some of fellows are there, they smoke the cigarette and they throw directly in the atmosphere, it catches the fire. By playing, at the time of playing, we play with the matchsticks, we burn the matchstick and we throw to the atmosphere. Same time they catches the fire. It means here we are the mediator for the combustion here. If we take this spontaneous combustion, the combustion reaction which occurs on its own without any external help or a heat, external help is called spontaneous combustion. Let us see the example here. First example for this, forest fire. You may heard this name, forest fire. The forest fire this first point, the forest fire occurs during the hotter summer days. It is occurred due to the extreme heat of the summer. Sometimes the ignition temperature of the dry grass in the forest is reached, which make the dry grass catches the fire. It means when there is a summer season in the forest, when there is a summer season in the forest, the ignition temperature reach its end point. Then the dry gas catches the fire. Or in the summer season, wind blows very speedily. Then the trees start to rub with each other. When the two trees start to rub with each other, there is a fire occurs. Right? If the bamboo tree rubs with each other in the summer days, they catches the fire. When they reach the ignition temperature, this is the very important point here. When they reach the ignition temperature, then the forest fire will be occurred. You can see this is an example for the forest fire. Okay, this picture is an example for that. Second one, explosive combustion. A very look here, this picture you can see here, a very fast combustion reaction in which the large amount of heat and light and sound produced is called explosive combustion. It means you can say this is an accidentally, if the gas is bursted, we see the large amount of heat and light and sound. This is known as the explosive combustion. You can take the bombs. Bomb is example for the explosive combustion. When we throw the bomb at the particular place, it liberates the large amount of heat, it liberates the large amount of light, and it produces the large amount of sound. That is the example for the explosive combustion. It means that a combustion reaction in which the large amount of heat, light, and sound is produced, that is known as the explosive combustion. The blasting of a gas, the blasting of the bombs, these are the examples. History, if we see the history of the matchstick, which we use in our kitchen rooms. Let us see what is the history of the matchstick. Look here, a short thin piece of wood having the chemical coated at one end, which we use to light a fire by rubbing against the rough surface is called matchstick. Okay, you have saw that matchstick. When we take out the matchstick from the matchbox and we rub their both surfaces to each other, when we rub them each other, the matchstick, which is the very small thin stick is present in our hand, it catches the fire. That is the matchstick. The history of a matchstick is very older than 5,000 years ago. It means we know the fire from a very beginning. The small thin piece of a pin wood dip. Look, remember this one, pin wood dipped in sulfur at one end where it is used as a matchstick. That there are the two type of sulfurs. You see, this there are, sorry, we use the sulfur for the matchstick here, which is the one end of the matchstick is coated with the sulfur. In the ancient Egypt, now in the modern safety matchstick matchstick was developed only about 200 years. It means the pin wood is dipped in sulfur is used by the Egyptian in the ancient days near about 5,000 years ago. Now in the modern days, which we use the matchstick in our home, that is recently developed near about 200 years. Okay, this is the history of a matchstick. You can see this picture. This is the example of a matchstick here. This is the matchstick. This is unburnt matchstick. This is sulfur. One end of the stick is coated by the sulfur, and this is the burning stick where the stick is catched the fire. This is the example. This is very familiar to you. Next, if the fire catches, if the fire is occurred, if the combustion is occurred, how we have to control them? We read in the newspaper the many accidents occur by the fire. We see and we listen the many newses from the television. In the many industry, the industry is burned by the fires. If it happens, how we are going to control them? First of all, we see here the first point, by removing the fuel. First we have to remove the fuel. Fuel means combustible substances. Fuel means clothes, wood, or any substances which catches the fire. We have to remove all the substances which catches the fire from that place where the accident occurs. We have to remove every burning substances from there. Second one, remove the heat. If there is a heat present in the, or the burn catches in the room, we have to open the windows and the doors to remove the heat. And second one, cut the air supply. If there is a air supply for the combustion, we have to cut the air supply. By these 3 points, we can control the fire. We can control the accident. We can reduce the damage of a accident, fire accident. First point, we have to remove the burning substances or the fuel. Second one is the remove the heat from the accident area, and we have to cut the supply of air which support the heat. Next point, we see this picture. What is this? This is the fire extinguisher. You may saw in the bus, you may saw in the trains, in the bus, in the train, in the schools, in the bus stands, banks, offices. We see these substances or this object in all these areas. This is the fire extinguisher by which we can stop the fire. We can control the fire. We can reduce the damage caused by fire. Okay, this is the fire extinguisher. Next one is the fuel. Fuel. What is the fuel? A material which is burnt to produce the heat is called fuel. It means it is the substances. This is the material or the substances which produce the heat is called fuel. Right? For example, wood, coal, gas, kerosene, petrol, diesel, etc. These all substances produce the heat. Right? You saw that when we burn the wood, it produces the heat. When we burn the coal, we produce the heat. When we burn the gas in our kitchen room, it gives the heat. Kerosene, when it is burned, it gives the heat. Petrol gives the heat. Diesel gives the heat. Whenever you travel from more than 1 kilometer, go and touch the engine of your bikes, you feel heat, you feel hot. Why? Because this petrol produce the heat, diesel produce the heat. There are the three type of fuels we see here. One is the solid, second one is the liquid, third one is the gaseous. There are the three type of a fuel: solid, liquid, and the gas. Okay, for the solid we take the example wood, right, coal, charcoal, we take the example. Second one, if we take the liquid fuel, we take the petrol, we take the diesel, we take the kerosene, right? These are the liquid fuel. And gaseous, gas, that is the LPG, liquid petroleum gas, right? Liquid petroleum gas. And we take CNG gas, right? CNC gas. There are the three type of fuel we see, that is the solid, liquid, and the gaseous. This is the liquid fuel, right? This is the calorific values of a fuel. This is the means that is the unit, the higher heating values. This is periodic table. Sorry, this is the table you can copy from this picture here. Next, flame. What is the flame? A flame is a region where combustion or burning of a gas substances take place. It means this is the area where the fire occurs, where the burning take place. In the of a gaseous substances, where in the gaseous substances take place. Some of the substances which burn by producing the flame, there are the lot of these substances, they produce the flame, like LPG, biogas, wax, camphor, magnesium, kerosene, oil, and mustard oil. These are the example for the producing of a flame, right? LPG produce the flame, biogas produce the flame, wax produce the flame, camphor produce the flame. Camphor means when we are devote the gods by burning the camphor. Magnesium, kerosene, oil, and a mustard oil. Okay, these are the example for the producing the flame. Let us see. Flame means what is? You can see in this picture, flame. Look here. This is the flame. This is the flame. And this is the flame. Right? after seeing this picture, you come to know that what is the flame. Where the substances produce the flame means in the air, in the gaseous region, they produce the flame. This is the flame. Next one, structure of a flame. Structure of a flame. See, this is the structure of a flame. This area. Remember that this is the flame. Totally, this is the flame. Here there are the lot of the different reasons. I will tell you this. The first one is the outer zone of the complete combustion, that is in the blue color. This is the very outermost layer of the flame that completely catches the fire. That is the total combustion or the complete combustion. And this is the hottest part of the flame. And second one is the moderately hot, where this is the yellow region you are seeing here. This is moderately hot. And last one is the mid zone of the flame. This is the yellowish color what you seeing here. This is the saffron color, sorry. That is the moderately hot is the saffron color. And this is the yellow color which you see here in the screen. The yellow color is the mid zone of the flame, right? There are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 zones we see in the flame. First one is the outermost zone where the complete combustion take place. Second one is the hot part of that flame. And third one is the moderately hot zone. And last one is the mid zone of the flame here. Let us see the next point. Burning of a fuel leads to harmful effect. When the burning accident take place, what are the harmful effect, hazards take place at that time? First one, the burning of a fuel like wood, coal release the unburnt carbon particles in the atmosphere. When the substances or when the fire catches in the forest or in the industries or in the homes, the unburnt particle is released in the atmosphere. These are the very dangerous particles. These are the carbon particle. If it is entered in the lungs, they damage whole lungs. Remember, this is the first one. Second one is incomplete combustion of a fuel due to the insufficient air produced a very poisonous gas called the carbon monoxide. Remember this. Okay. When the substances are not burned completely, when the substance is not burned completely, they are released. Why? Because there is a lack of air, there is a lack of oxygen, so they don't burn completely. At that time they release the carbon monoxide. This is also very toxic gas released at that time. Third point, burning of a fuel release the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. They release the CO2. This is also harmful substances released by burning substances. Next, fourth point, the burning of fuel produce the sulfur dioxide gas. They produce the sulfur dioxide gas which goes into the air. Remember, these are the very important. They release the unburnt carbon particle in the atmosphere. They release the carbon monoxide. They release the carbon dioxide. They release the sulfur dioxide. These all are the very toxic materials for the atmosphere or the environment. These are the harmful product released when the substances burns. Right? Next one. In the case of CNC gas, this is the one type of a gas. Right? The use of petrol and diesel as a fuel in automobiles is being replaced by CNG gas. Right? See, nowadays we use the petrol engine. Our bikes are the petrol engine. We see the diesel engine vehicles, that are the cars, trucks, motors. We use the petrol and diesel for the as a fuel in the automobiles, right? Nowadays we are replacing them as a CNG gas. Nowadays we use the CNG as a fuel. We use as a CNG, right? Next one. This is because when a CNG burns, it produces very small amount of harmful products. When we compare to the petrol, compare to the diesel, compare to the kerosene, right? The CNG release the small amount of that is also release the harmful substances, but the amount of the substances is lesser than the petrol, diesel and kerosene. Small amount of harmful products. Harmful products. So we are replacing our automobiles by using the CNG instead of the petrol and diesels. Okay. Next point. In case of wood, the wood has been used as a domestic industrial fuel for the centuries. We use the wood from many centuries. From many centuries means from the beginning of the civilization, we use the wood as a fuel in our day-to-day or the domestic works. We use the wood to produce the heat in the winter season. We use the wood to heat the water for the bath, right? We use the wood to cook our food, right? For many purposes we burn the wood. Next, some of these disadvantages of wood are, it produces a lot of the smoke, right? It produces a lot amount of smoke. It increases the deforestation. If we use the wood continuously for our domestic purposes, we cut all the forest. After that, we see there is no forest present on the earth. That is known as the deforestation. And third point is that it is harmful to the environment, because the environment have its own balance. If we cut the forest, the balance get imbalance. So it affects the environment. If there is an effect produced in the environment, it directly affects on the all living organism present on the earth. Next, last one. Thank you for watching my class, and please subscribe my channel, that is Genius Science Academy, and invite your friends to my class. Thank you very much for the listening my class. Thank you very much.